What's going on, everybody? Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, practicing social distancing, and enjoying this incredible offseason that the Dallas Cowboys are putting together. This past weekend, everybody thought it was going to be a little bit more chill. Obviously, it was the first one following the NFL draft. Maybe had some chores to do around the house. I know I cut the yard, had a bad haircut myself, and, tried to figure out what else was going on in the world. And the Dallas Cowboys decided, you know what? Let's get wild. Let's get weird. While the Cowboys last week signed free agent cornerback Daryl Worley, the Cowboys got themselves a backup quarterback on Saturday night. It was reported that the Dallas Cowboys now have the one, the only, the incredible Andy Dalton backing up Dak Prescott. Now, this created an interesting set of takes around the internet, around Twitter.com, and there's a lot to sort of unpack when it comes to Andy Dalton. And you look at it, Andy Dalton obviously has been in the NFL for almost a decade now. Drafted in 2011 by the Cincinnati Bengals, has spent the last 9 years playing there for Cincinnati. Obviously out now that the Bengals drafted LSU's Joe Burrow with the #1 overall pick. It was last week that the Cincinnati Bengals officially parted ways with Andy Dalton, which left him to be a free agent, left him an opportunity to go wherever he wanted. Now, I know that I live in San Antonio, Texas. I call high school football in the fall. I love high school football. Everybody knows, if you follow high school football in the state of Texas, that Andy Dalton's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play in this state in the last, quarter century. And Andy Dalton obviously starred at Katy High School, those mighty Katy Tigers. And I thought that Andy Dalton might end up with the Houston Texans. It's well known, obviously, Andy's, relationship to the area. But Andy decided not to go back to Houston, where he's from, but to go back to Dallas. Obviously, Andy played college football at TCU in the DFW area. And this is a great move from the Cowboys. We have said forever that the Dallas Cowboys need to bring in a veteran presence at backup quarterback. Think about who has been the backup quarterback in the Dak Prescott era. For the most of it, it's been Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush, when undrafted in 2017, fought his way onto the roster, actually is part of the reason that now offensive coordinator Kellen Moore is no longer playing for the Cowboys. And so Cooper Rush has been fine, but when you are a moment away from being the most important player on the team, it is kind of a risk to have somebody like Cooper Rush be in that spot. Andy Dalton is what? I mean, if we were to rank every quarterback in the NFL, we're not going to do that here. Andy Dalton would be what, like 35th? 38th, something like that. He is without question now one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL. I think you look to New Orleans, what they have in Jameis Winston. You look at Oakland or Las Vegas. Goodness gracious, it's going to take forever to get used to that with what they have now in Marcus Mariota. You look at a lot of situations and they are admirable. And you look at how important a backup quarterback can be. Look at New Orleans last year when Drew Brees got hurt. Now Carolina Panthers quarterback Teddy Bridgewater came in and went 5-0 in that stretch. The Kansas City Chiefs lost Pat Mahomes for what was almost 3 full games and went 2-1 because of Matt Moore and what he did in Pat Mahomes' absence. It is a huge sign that the Dallas Cowboys clearly believe in their roster as a whole that they would go out and get Andy Dalton, because if Dak Prescott had to miss time for whatever reason, obviously they would want to have somebody who they felt could steer this ship, and Andy Dalton seems to be the guy. I also think it should be noted, Andy Dalton played for the Cincinnati Bengals. We all know that. We all know he's been in Cincinnati forever. Do you know what division the Dallas Cowboys happen to play in 2020? The AFC North. That's right. The Cowboys will take road trips to Cincinnati, where Andy Dalton is from, and at Baltimore as well, take on Lamar Jackson. By the way, the NFL schedule should be coming out sooner rather than later. We will recap that for you right here on the official Blogging the Boys YouTube channel, so make sure and subscribe. But the Cowboys will also host the Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers. And so who knows these defenses better than somebody who's been playing against them for the last decade? Andy Dalton. It's a 1-year deal for the Cowboys and Dalton, worth $3 million in terms of guaranteed money, and can be ultimately worth up to $7 million. And that is nothing. And you know what? We don't know what that extra $4 million entails. We don't know what kind of incentives the Cowboys wrote into Andy Dalton's contract. But I tell you what, if Andy Dalton is reaching those incentives, it means obviously he's playing for whatever reason, and it means that he's probably playing pretty well. And that would ultimately be a good thing for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, think about it. It's been a long time since the Cowboys invested in the backup quarterback position. Louis Riddick said last week he believes it to be a top 30 position in the National Football League. This is very important because you are, again, a moment away from potentially being the most important player on your team. Andy Dalton is now somebody who can come in in a pinch, if Dak Prescott does have to miss time and can be somebody that helps the Dallas Cowboys win football games, this is in no way a threat to Dak Prescott in his starting position with the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of people that somehow think it is. But Dak Prescott is the unquestioned starter. And, in my opinion, I don't think the Cowboys do this unless they truly are that firm in their belief and in their convictions that Dak Prescott is their starting quarterback. You can go out and you can get a guy like this because you have an unquestioned level of belief and faith in your starting quarterback. That's why the New Orleans Saints can go out and sign Jameis Winston to be Drew Brees' backup, because there's no question that Drew Brees is the starting quarterback for that team. I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is Drew Brees, but it's that same sort of situation. Dak is the unquestioned starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, and now he has one of the best backups in the NFL in Andy Dalton. This is an A-plus move for the Cowboys. They are doing a lot of things that we frankly didn't think that they would. They went out, they invested in the defensive tackle position. They drafted a wide receiver that miraculously fell to them with the 17th overall pick. They are bringing in options. Look at the way they've handled the kicker position and Kai Forbath and Greg Zuerlein. And now they are investing in the backup quarterback position. Things are very different for the Dallas Cowboys, and it is a very exciting thing to watch unfold. Of course, whatever unfolds, we'll keep you covered right here on the official Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. On our Blog of the Boys podcast feed, we are available on all major podcast platforms. We have 5 different shows. You get at least 2 episodes every single day, so make sure you don't miss out there. Check out bloggingtheboys.com for the latest and greatest in the world of America's team. Oh, and one more thing. Have the best day ever. You know why? Because you deserve it. We'll see you next time.